Hi, I'm Emma. I'm the author of Little Guy. I am a poet. I write all sorts of poems, always have. And I'm blind, so I don't really draw. Well, I do. I tinker, I sketch a bit, I doodle. With the very little bit of sight I've got, I like to keep my hands busy. But I have never drawn anything like Little Guy. Yet I woke up one day with 3 pictures in my mind, and I just had to get them onto paper, and they had poems associated with them. And then over the next 2 weeks, 25 pictures emerged. They just came to me, to my mind. I could see them as clear as anything. I've never had anything like it before, and I just had to draw them, just had to get them onto paper. And then these poems just appeared, one for each. And they have been tweaked very little between creating those in January 2020 and where we are now at the end of April 2020, about to release this book for publication. I had no idea what they were about when I was drawing them. I just have learnt over the years, if something comes to my mind, then I should do something with it. Write it down, share it, speak to somebody. It's normally got at work something amazing happening, or something quite ordinary but important for somebody else. But people liked these pictures. I put them onto Facebook, I put them onto Instagram, people loved them. And there was a challenge to share them, to get them published, and that's where we are now. In the book, in the intro, in the bio, I have not said what I think these pictures are, because I believe what they are to me is not necessarily what they are to anybody else. I have no doubt that they are important for the time we find ourselves now. I am speaking in week 7 for our family of isolation for at least 3 months, maybe, we're expecting much longer, because I need to shield to protect my health. And the rest of the UK is in week 4 of lockdown. We are dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. Little Guy speaks into that, because Little Guy at the beginning is anxious, lonely, isolated, depressed. All these words fit. And we see Little Guy through the book going on a journey of recovery. But Little Guy doesn't just speak into now. Little Guy speaks into times of depression, when the world seems so incredibly heavy. And I know what I'm talking about because I've been there. I've had 3 very serious depressive episodes, and I have lived through them. I have survived them. I am a survivor of suicidal thoughts. I am a survivor of desperation. I live with my mental health challenges. There are good days and there are bad days. Little Guy tries to express some of that. I see in Little Guy that heaviness, that desperation, that feeling of separation from the world when the weight of depression hits. And Little Guy uses tools that I use. He goes into nature. He connects with animals. He connects with people. He thinks positively. Just small steps, one after another, which bring him to a point of healing. I also see in Little Guy something of anxiety. And I can really imagine that as we come out of this COVID pandemic, there may be people who are feeling very anxious about going back into the world. And I really hope Little Guy can bless people in those feelings as well. I see in Little Guy a model of our time. Perhaps it's a time we have passed. Perhaps we will come out the other end of this pandemic and we will be more connected as individuals, as community, as neighbours. But certainly he speaks to what many people have been struggling with. An epidemic of loneliness. We've all heard that phrase, and it's very real. It was real to me when I became disabled, and it took time to come through that. It's real for people I know who are older and can no longer get out into the world and feel very lonely. It's very true for people with chronic ill health, who again can't be a part of the world what everyone expects. And loneliness is very real for them. So I hope Little Guy blesses them. I don't know where God is going to take little Guy, but I feel so blessed if he has used me and these drawings and my words to even bless one person, 2 people, to make them feel that they know now they're not alone, that other people do understand what they're feeling. If you're watching this, I'm guessing it's because you've come across little Guy. I hope he's been a blessing to you. And I hope it's been interesting to hear some of how he came about and my story.